If your fear of starting is stopping you from picking up your brush, you're not alone. Today, I'm sharing the simple abstract painting trick that helped me move past the pressure to be perfect and to rediscover the joy of painting. Whether you're just starting or feeling blocked, this calming technique might be exactly what you need. And along the way, I'll be sharing with you my life inside my studio this week, plus much more. So let's get started. Hi everyone, Diane here, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do some nice bright and cheerful paintings, or at least one anyway. But I just wanted to start off by showing you this wonderful sunflower, which was the bud that we were looking at the other day when we had our whole bunch of sunflowers in front of us, remember? And this one was a closed up bud, but it's opened up into the most beautiful flower like this now. And Tamsin is offering 3 of her beautiful photographs of said sunflower up against the sky. We have a beautiful clear blue sky today. So all members of our Patreon will be able to have those 3 photos, which are gorgeous, if you become a member, obviously. So there's that. And the other thing I wanted to talk about too briefly, quickly, before I get started, is the summer daily challenge, which we have here. It's called Mix and Match Summer Daily Watercolor Challenge for August. And what we have is a list of prompts here and some styles and materials to get you started. And the idea is that you use something that is around you to get you started on your next painting, basically. It doesn't have to be something to do with nature. And for example, number 9 is to paint a pattern inspired by a previous painting. And that's the one that we're going to do today. So I'll put that aside. Don't forget, you can take part in that challenge. And especially if you're a member, you can share all your pictures on YouTube and Patreon as well. So just go to our website to find out more about that. Here I have a sketchbook, and this is, again, another thing that we're doing for members on Patreon. This is a sketchbook that I'm about 3/4 of the way through. That's as far as I got last year. But I haven't done both sides of the page. And I thought to myself, what I'll do is I'll paint the other side. So I've started with our special exclusive videos for our members on Patreon and YouTube. I've started to fill in the other pages. So this was the one that came out yesterday. This is obviously there before. And then this is the next one that comes out on Thursday. Sorry, not on Thursday, Tuesday week. So we do 2 a month. So that's that one. And then after I'd done those yesterday, I kind of used them as a sort of loosening up kind of thing. Then I did this based on this. So as I was saying, a pattern based on a previous painting. This was done more than a year ago. This is what came out yesterday. You can see I'm not in the same kind of vibrant mood, excuse me, as I was when I did this one. I just need a quick slurp of water. You won't find the AI doing that in the middle of a video. Anyway, moving on. So today I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do another one sort of based on this idea, this idea, this idea, and this color scheme. I've got a print here of somebody else's painting, and I just liked the colors. So I'm going to start with those colors. And the way I'm going to do that today is the following. Let's put that over there. Let's not close it. I'll keep it like that. I've got a brand new set of Kuretake paints, thanks to a lady who kindly donated the money for me so that I could buy them, and I did. So here we have a beautiful new set, and as yet untouched by human hand. And so I'm going to take the plastic off. If you haven't come across Kuretake paints before, this is how they come to you in a box like this. It's a nice solid cardboard box. The Japanese like this kind of presentation. This is a swatch card. It's attached to the box so you can't ever lose it, which does have some advantages. And all the paints are in separate individual little pots. And on the back, they have their name, This one happens to be number 61, Ultramarine Pale, and then it says it in Japanese as well. And also it's marked on the box too. So you always know where to put it back, which is quite handy, because what we're going to do now, using this as our colour scheme, I'm going to take the colours out that I'm going to use. I'm going to limit myself, which is something I do prefer to do, to have a limited palette. So I'll take out the colours matching them to this thing here. So we've got pink. So I don't know, can't remember what they call this one, Cherry Blossom Pink. And we'll put that in there. They won't fit exactly into the box, but you know, this is a tin. It came with some labels or stickers or something in it, and I thought that's a nice tin, I'll keep that. Then we want a sort of orangey yellow, so we'll go for this one, which is Aureolin. So put that there. You can see we're in the right track here. Then we've got a pale turquoise, so we'll have this one here. Malachite, okay, so malachite is there. Then we've got this colour, which is kind of yellow ochre, so we'll have this one here. And this is the cheat's way, or the cheap person's way of getting a palette together. And then we've got a maroony colour, so like this one. When you're putting together a colour scheme, you always want to have one, at least one, usually only one, strong contrast. So this is what he's got or she's got here. It's probably AI. I think this is AI generated, actually. But I'm not going to paint that. I'm going to paint something else. So we've got the orange, we've got the maroon, which is here and here. And then we want one more pink, a sort of darker pink. And I think it'll probably be this one. Okay. So I think that's our, possibly, possibly, no, I think that'll do. Okay, so this can come with me. This can go away. Now I've got my Meaden paper here, but also something we're going to need today, and I thought I would show you these two palettes because they just arrived from Meaden. They're both porcelain palettes for mixing colours on, assuming that you are working with something that hasn't got a palette attached. You would need something like this. So this is one that I have used for a long time. It's rather good. It's got two larger wells in the middle and then a range of wells around the outside there. So that one's really nice. I might use that today. On the other hand, this one also is good. This is very good if you're going to be mixing lots of different colours. Sorry about the noise. It's a bit bigger. And it's got a bigger mixing well in the middle. So if you prefer one large well rather than two smaller ones, that's the one to go for. They're not terribly expensive. I'll put links to the Meaden website in the description below. And you get 15% off if you use Diane 15. Plus we get a little commission, which doesn't cost you anything. So if you feel like you'd like to support us, buy one of these. Or anything else that they have, because they do have quite a lot of good stuff. So I think I'll probably use that one. This one is not new to me, but this one is. So, and then brushes, I'm going to be using this size paper, which is 9x12 cold press, 100% cotton Meaden paper, which I'm realizing I'm quite used to nowadays. I'll just, if I can find a knife, I'll just trim off some of the glue which accumulates around the edges, because it's a block and it's glued all the way around to stop it from cockling when you use water on it, which is a useful fact of life. It will cockle, and if you have it tied down around the outside edges, it won't. So you can either use tape it down with stretch it properly, or else you can cheat and use this, which is great. Never used to have this stuff available at a reasonable price, but it's great glue now. So, yeah, mixing, tin, water, That one's dirty. Okay. Oh, that's warm. That's nice. Paintbrush, in proportion to this, we might want to use something like a number 10 draw well, and I might need something a bit smaller, not that small. Maybe that one. Those are draw well ones from Japan, or I might use my Princeton Aqua Elite. I'm going to try and get hold of some of the other ones. What's it called? Can't remember what it's called, but not the Neptune, but the other one. Anyway, somebody can tell me in the comments below. This will probably be around about the right size. If I want something bigger, I've got this one here and loads of others. But, you know, I mean, a brush is a brush is a brush, isn't it, really, when you're painting like this? Just having a quick slurp of my coffee. Now, yeah, this is all wrong. I'll put these here. And I'll put this here. And I'll put that there. That's better. Now, to go back to my original that I'm going to be working from, what I did with both of these is I picked up some splodges of various colours and I put them all in the background in a very random way, as random as I could manage, because I don't know if you're anything like me, you want to organise things and you don't have that kind of disconnected mental state yet. So I struggle to do that, but I do try, and this one worked out reasonably well. And so I'm going to be using those colours there to try to achieve something like that. And then when that's dry, we'll do the next step. So it's quite exciting, actually, when you begin with this, because you can just be a kiddie again. So I will use this brush, I think. It has a nice, elegant look to it, doesn't it, with its nice shiny, painted, lacquered, beautifully lacquered Japanese brush. Very nice. Thank you, Mr. Miami. Let's start at the top with, I don't know, let's start with some pink. And always, I recommend, honestly, that you always try it out. I sometimes forget. I don't absolutely always do this, but I try to. So we'll try it out on our palette first and see whether we want it like that. Or do we, and we probably do, want to add a little of something else. So I'll just darken that down a little bit, make it a little bit more blue. That's quite nice. I don't know if it'll be dark enough, but we'll put it on here. Probably isn't enough of it. Go back in, pick up some more. That's always a good thing, pick up a bit more. So we'll just try to make a splodge with various intensities on it. And then I'll rinse off my brush and maybe I'll go for some yellow. I probably should have put water on these pans before I started so that they gave up their colour a little bit more readily, because, you know, they always will. I'm going to use that, I think I'm going to use that over here. If I spray them with a little drop of water, they'll soften up a bit. Then I think I'll mix those two together to make a sort of orange, peachy colour. If I was using a bigger brush, I would get more coverage more quickly, but this isn't a race, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use this brush that I have here. And I'm just letting the paint wander where it wants to go. I'm not trying to construct anything. Maybe as we go towards the middle, we might want to make it a bit darker, so we'll add a bit more of this maroon colour. The thing is, with Kuretake colours, you can't really create something that's you can't really create an unhappy colour combination because somehow they just seem to work together. What we need to do is remember to vary the sizes and the shapes and not echo shapes. It's a funny thing about that because when you are painting, you will often notice that you accidentally draw parallel lines or you repeat the same shape. So you have to struggle not to do that. I'm going to go into the green here, malachite they call that, and I'm going to put that in here. And it's good if it blends. We're quite happy to have a blend where the colours run into one another. Now I'm going to go back to the pink. You see how much more readily it lets the colour come out. And I'm going to put a bit of red in that one. And then we're going to come in here, because that's where the space is. And if we add yellow to that, we'll get a nice orangey colour. Another one similar probably to that. And we'll water it down a little bit here perhaps. And in the middle, how about some yellow ochre? Blend it in with these. Very peaceful, very undemanding. The paper is very undemanding as well. It does a nice flow. I think we need a bit more malachite here. When that pink goes into the green, you get a sort of lilac kind of colour where it's blending there. I definitely think we need a bit more yellow now. We'll make that a bit orangey with the pink. Mustn't let my coffee get cold. And so we've got yellow there and there. We've got this orange coming down. We've got pink and pink. Probably need a bit more of the maroon. And a little bit of that. Now to give more texture into this wet page, I'm going to try dropping in some dots of water. And you'll see them miraculously appear. You see? It's just clean water. I'll put some down here too. And that will give us some focal points. And now we have to let it dry while I finish my coffee. Should let it dry. I shouldn't really do anything with the hairdryer if I want to get the full effect of the splashes that I've put on there like that. So at this point, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and do something else. Do a different painting while you're waiting for your background, because that is what this is, isn't it? It's a background and we're waiting for that to dry. Or you can just go away and have lunch and so on and so forth. By the time you come back, it'll be nice and dry and maybe you'll have had a really good idea for what you're going to do next. So for me, what I'm going to do is, what am I going to do? Maybe I'll have a little practice in a smaller book, a different book of ideas of sketches now. Yeah, so I'm going to put that to one side. And that's actually looking quite pretty now. And I will turn to this book in which I have some ideas, actually. Oh, these ones are really old. This is a sketch from 2003 when I was living in Eastling near Faversham in Kent. That was the tree in the neighbour's garden. And there's another view of it. 2003. And then I came back a little bit later and did some sketches of chickens and sheep. And that must have been here, and that would have been 10 years later. You keep these things and they serve as a kind of diary, don't they? This is much more recent. I think that was last Christmas. I have forgotten to put the date on. This was 2023. So those two were probably the year before. And this one, that's the basis for a design that I did with you. And this is an actual video that we did, I think. I did it in here, in this book, and that one too. I really ought to get around to doing some more of these house ones. They were quite popular, weren't they? And this is pretty. That's on a background that I did like this, which is not dissimilar to what I'm doing today. Only this has gold paint in it, as well as some neutrals. And that does give you a really quite nice, interesting background that looks a little bit like trees or something in the back, in the distance, you know, something like that. And I haven't got round to doing anything on top of those yet. The trouble is you get attached to the background after a while and you don't want to do anything on it because you quite like it. So I did that one, but I was quite pleased with that, actually. I like it better now I've come back to it. Oh, look, there's a Wheel of the Year. That was an idea for a painting too, for a video. Didn't ever get round to that. That's acrylic markers, that is. And then there's a rabbit. I think I did a video, something like that, for the rabbit. What else? Oh, nothing else. What's that? Oh, there's a rabbit, yes. I was trying to paint just the shadows. So what you can do, if you're going to be doing something like what I'm going to be doing, you can go to a book like this and you can try out a few ideas. So we could do that while I'm waiting for it to dry. It's not dry yet, but it's getting there. So one thing that I wanted to do, I did it in this one, was I just put in basically some circles, broken circles, and then I went over the top of that when it was dry with the Molotov marker, which is a kind of off-white, and then I painted on top of that, and it acted like a resist. It acted like wax crayon would do. It kind of showed through the paint quite clearly. So I thought that was quite interesting, which is a little bit different from what I'd done in this one, where I did really dark, and this is the equivalent of that. They were dark, and that's very thick Kuretake paint. And then I was able to put some white lines on top of that. So it's kind of the reverse, if you know what I mean. So, and then on this one, I used gold. So I don't know if I'll end up using gold, but we've got the same sorts of ideas of berries and leaves and all sorts of things like that. So maybe I'll try and warm up a little bit and do some leaves in colours. We could, And also testing out your brush, because I have a feeling that this brush might be a little bit getting older. So if it doesn't come to a nice point or a good enough point, then I will have to reject it for today's work. Maybe I will put that one to one side. That's not particularly sharp. Well, the problem is brushes all get muddled up. Here is a brand new one. I know that because it's not had its hat taken off yet. And when they come to you from Japan, they're stiff and you think, I'll never be able to paint with that. But obviously it's got sizing. I think they use a kind of starch. So you have to dip it in some water, which is good if it's warm, which this one actually is, and swirl it around a bit like this. And eventually, after a while, it will hopefully it'll start to soften up as the starch or whatever it is that they use. I think it's some kind of starch. It'll soften up and it'll come out, and you'll feel it coming away in your hand between your fingers. So you just gently encourage that to become free. And we'll see what kind of a point this brush has got. My Princeton ones are definitely getting a little bit worn. I've been using them almost on a daily basis for 3 years now, so I expect they've seen better days. Okay. I've never done anything other than that with my new brushes. I'm sure some people think that you need to do other things, but I'm sure I don't know what. Okay, so let's again go into this paint and see what the difference is, if there is any. It's a much bigger brush, of course, and I think it possibly does have a better point. Yeah, we're okay there. Let's think about a few nice circles that we could call berries. Maybe we use a bit of the yellow ochre to join them together. That's mixed with the malachite. You get that nice soft green. You find these things out as you go along, you know, or maybe with yellow it would also be nice. One good reason for keeping your palette restricted when you're doing a painting is to allow yourself the opportunity to explore what those colours can do. So I've just mixed the maroon with the malachite and we've got a lovely grey. We don't need to buy any greys because you can make grey from any 3 colours, or if it's already any 3 primaries, or if it's already mixed, so green, you just have to add a red and you'll automatically get a grey. And this lovely soft ochre-y colour for the berries. We can drop a dot in at the bottom of some of the leaves. And especially on the hot pressed paper, on the cold pressed paper, this is just sketch paper. On the cold pressed Meeden paper, you will find that it will, when you drop something in the bottom there, it will spread nicely up. You probably won't do it on this paper. Paper does count, does matter. Okay, and then let's add a little bit of malachite. Shouldn't do that, but I will. And we'll do some more leaves over here. Look at that wonderful colour. Isn't that beautiful? This is a beautiful maroon, soft, just like something out of the Art Nouveau set, isn't it? It is actually, and that's malachite with red, which red is that? That is Rose Madder Deep, so it's a deep pink, and malachite make this beautiful mauve. I'm quite surprised about that, actually. It does, when you work on these colours like this, that you can make with the main set of Kuretake paints. You realise you don't actually need the Art Nouveau set because they're all here. So we put a few more little ones here, perhaps, and I need to pick up and clean off my malachite. And then we can make that more greenish like that, much more grey for the stems. Let me go back to the mauve. Let's do one or two biggish leaves. I always have to try to remember to vary the scale, you know. And by the time we've finished practicing here on this piece, we might be ready to carry on our main painting. So I've just done a quarter circle there because what I'm going to do next is go into the orangey yellow. And I'm just going to try out some petals. And maybe add some yellow in there too. And we let that move around a bit. It's quite interesting. Might use something like that. We could do another one up here. Maybe smaller, like that. Or, I mean, you have to just try these things out, don't you? We could do big petals here. Don't be afraid of letting your painting go off the side, and then we can just pick up a bit more of this purple colour mixed with a bit of yellow, which gives us a kind of soft sort of brown. I'm going to put some berries in here. Okay, well, I think that's enough playing, and I expect probably our background will be dry enough now to be able to start. So we'll put that where I can see it so that it gives me some ideas. You are nearly dry, but you've stopped moving, so we'll just dry you off. Well, I don't know what you think, but I think that's pretty. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to find my One for All Molotow natural white marker, which has got two ends to it. It's got a fat one and a thinner one. I think that's 0.3 and this one is 0.1, I think. It says it on here somewhere. 1.5 and 4. Okay, well, I was close, wasn't I? And we'll give it a bit of a shake. And then I'm going to add some simple parallel lines on here in places, over which I'm going to then do my leaves and things, just to give them a different kind of effect. And you could, let me test it first of all on a piece of paper. Paper, where are you? Something I can do some scribbles on. Yes. Okay, so that's working, and I'll use the smaller side of it to do this. Yeah, I'm not actually drawing anything. I'm just going to go into my pattern on my paper and just prepare the surface, basically. As far as I haven't seen anyone do this. I don't know if anyone else has done it. But anyway, I'm doing it out of my own limited imagination, I think I would say. Limited indeed. We'll go this way too. Doesn't matter if the lines aren't parallel exactly. Doesn't matter if they touch, because this is all about self-expression. So do whatever you want to do. We could do some wavy ones up here. When I did this the other day, I had absolutely no idea what would happen. And I don't have any idea now either what's likely to happen. But it's quite easy to do vertical ones. I'm quite enjoying doing vertical ones. Let's put some more here. Perhaps you could have them crossing over, maybe. Just sort of random. Oh, one thing about this pen, you don't want to move it too fast because it'll skip. So just, go slow. And I think this is probably enough. I don't think I need to do any more. Just, okay. We'll leave it like that. It's just to give another layer of texture, really, that famous texture that we're always talking about. So, what we need to think about is what our design is going to be a little bit. So on the one that I did as a practice, I did put a sunflower down here. And I think that this is actually repeating the idea. So I think I'll do another sunflower there and a sunflower there. And then maybe this and this will be kind of rosy, these two here. Then maybe here will be leaves and here will be leafy. So yeah, but I'm not going to do anything that you might call detailed. So what I shall do, let's do the flowers in the lighter colours. So we'll pick up some pink, a bit of polystyrene there. Pick up some pink, mix it with a bit of the darker, and then we'll come up here and I'm just literally going to make my life easy and just paint partial circles in partial circles. I'm just going to do that. And I don't care whether it looks like a rose or not. I just want to fill that space up. And then I'll go to the lighter colour pink, and I think I'll do something similar down here. And if you want to do things that are more detailed, just whatever comes out of the end of your brush is what you should do, because we're not doing it for the result, are we? We're doing it for the process. And I like doing this. So as to pick up another colour and just drop it in and let it mix and mingle. And it won't stay the way you put it. A bit like children. You can put them down, but they won't necessarily stay where you put them. And dogs and cats, they're the same. We've been having a lot of trouble with one of our cats recently. He's so naughty. We've got 5, okay, And one of them is a rebel without a cause, I might say, because he really doesn't have anything to complain about. And he fights with the neighbours, and he won't eat when he's fed, and he wants to eat all the time when we don't want him to, and he won't go to bed in the right place. And oh, he's a naughty boy, is our Oriole. He is a naughty boy. Yes. Okay, so am I going to do any more pink ones? Maybe down here, perhaps. Very lightly, perhaps. Yeah, that one's kind of shadowy. Okie doke. Now I can't wait to do this one, or this one. So let's get some nice bright yellow. Get that mixed up in our palette here. And I'm going to come in with my petals. I should be using the bigger new brush. See how that puts down so much more paint? Just lets it go. And then we'll pick up some of the mauve, go around the center. Okay, so that's one sunflower. And then we're going to do the other one down here. So I'll add to my yellow. I'll just turn that round because it's in the wrong direction for me. So we'll just do our lovely petals. Nice and big. We don't have to worry about mixing all of our colours. This one is, we're just using the pre-mixed yellow, not adding anything to it. Okay, and then, so we need some of the purple. If we're going to do something brownish, we need the purple and we need the malachite. More of that. I think we need a bit of red in that. And I think we need some yellow. Ah, there we are. That's what I wanted, some brown. And we keep it reasonably light. We don't want it too dark. Put a little bit more in there. Okay, so then let's go again into the malachite and make it a greyish green, and then we can put some beautiful turquoise berries, biggish ones, in here. I quite like to leave a little bit of light in some of them so it looks as if they have dimensionality. And then we'll come with some darker green, just adding in a bit of that brown, like we practiced before. So we'll do it like that, perhaps. Over here, we're going to need some bright pink, relatively bright. Perhaps we'll add a bit of the maroon. I'm going to put a sprig of smaller berries. Something like that, and maybe since I've got so much paint on my brush, we'll just come up here and do some kind of flower, daisy flower, pink. And let that do its thing. Doesn't have to be all balanced and equal in the petals. Just do whatever feels right. And we did have, well, I don't know. I mean, there's so many things that you can do. We just carry on. I think we probably want some sort of sprig. And I'm going to add some yellow ochre to this colour to make it into a green, a sort of soft greenish, like olive green or something. And let's see if we can be, oh, that's a bit much. I'll swap down to a slightly smaller brush for that, I think. Maybe this will work better. And then, don't like that colour. You can always lift off, you see. I mean, this colour is quite good for the stems. And so we'll do plenty of those. But that's not the colour I want for the leaves. I'm going to go into the yellow ochre neat. I'll turn this round. We can have some cleaner colours over here. So let's see how that looks. That's better. And when you go over your white lines that you've painted in, you'll see they show through. I was hoping, and I'm not completely disappointed yet, but I was hoping this would look nice and sunny and cheerful for the summer, although I have to say the weather has been very peculiar here. In the morning, this morning, it was 9 degrees centigrade, which is cold. It's actually cold, and I've got on 3 layers. And I even needed to put on some warm socks. I don't know what's going on, really. Okay, so we have our twig of yellow leaves there like that. And what I'm going to do now then is add some sort of disconnected ones in various places to sort of complement the other colours that we've got. I sort of drop things, small ones, in various places. I'm going over some of my lines there. Yellow ochre does have quite a bit of sunshine in it. I think it is yellow ochre, isn't it? Yeah, it's yellow ochre. I suddenly thought I was hallucinating or something. We want to draw these ones together. So we use yellow ochre for that as well. I think we're probably coming towards the end of this. It's always difficult to know where to stop, obviously. And this painting, if I were to stop now, I think what I will do though is lift out some centres or a center in this one. And just make that lighter. And this one here too, actually, has gone a bit wet. So just dry that out a little bit. Otherwise it will go from here to Christmas before it actually dries. What was I going to say? Yes, you could do so many more things to this painting at this point. You could definitely come in with a black pen, but personally I think that would spoil the sunny look. You could definitely have another whole layer over the top, reinforcing the colours where I've done the sunflowers and so on. You could come in again with more orange. Some of this on here would give it another level, or even some more of the same yellow once this is dry. Your roses could be embellished more. You could put dots and things. I've chosen to put little, very, very subtle vertical lines. You could decide that you wanted to put a few more, you know. You could, I mean, we did put some here. You could brighten them up a bit, make them a bit stronger. But you might think, well, actually, no. I mean, this is, you could put veins on the leaves too, but you'd have to wait for it to dry before you came back and did any of that. You could put dots, you know, you could put a few dots in some of your elements. You could do that. That would probably be quite nice. But it's a case of knowing where to stop, isn't it? Where to stop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop now, and I'm going to remind you about the challenge, Mix and Match Summer Challenge, and do have a go. You don't have to do every one, but the one way of defeating the difficulties that we're all facing at the moment is to actually get out your paints and do something with them. And I feel a lot more cheerful now I've created this, not particularly unique or original or beautiful or anything, but I have got my paint on my brushes, onto the paper. It looks happy. And so it makes me feel happy too. So I hope you give this a go and join Patreon to take part in our challenges in a more complicated way. And I'll talk about that again some other time. And you also get exclusive content over there and special offers and all sorts of things like the photos that Tamsin's going to be putting up today. I know you're going to love those pictures of the sunflower. They're beautiful. So pop over there and see what you can find. And don't forget, anything you buy from Meaden, 15% off if you put Diane 15 in at the checkout. And some places, I think it goes in automatically, actually. So there we are. Can't think of anything else to say. Send you all a big hug. Hope everybody is in as good health as we can expect to be. I'll talk about that on Patreon as well, the situation that Tamsin and I have found ourselves in, which I know a lot of you are in too, so that's something that we'll talk about over there rather than on here. So I'm going to go now, so I'll see you soon. Bye for now, everybody. Bye-bye.